Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to Sahamati's first Pragati session for the year 2024, for the calendar year 2024. It's an exciting time for us, and of course, as most of y'all, I can see are our usual attendees, and there are some new ones as well. As you know that every month we pick up some topic and we deep dive into the topic, try to understand the use cases, what is what can be the possible impact of that particular use case on that particular segment, etc. So most of our Pragati sessions are deep dive sessions. This month, because it's the beginning of the new calendar year, we thought why not have a recap plus a road ahead session of Account Aggregator. As most of you know, Account Aggregator got launched in 2021, in almost the last quarter of 2021, September 2021. And today we are in January 2024. And the journey has been extremely exciting and very, very fulfilling. We're going to go through, understanding of what the last year has been for the ecosystem, for the participants of the ecosystem, for the consumer, for the businesses, etc. And also try to understand what is in the pipeline for 2024. Please give us a few more minutes. Mahesh is joining us in a bit. He will be doing the keynote for the session. So a few more minutes and we'll get started. Thank you. Hello, Mahesh.
Hey guys.
Hello. So, I just gave a brief introduction to everybody.
Okay.
Please, join me in welcoming Mr. B.G. Mahesh, co-founder and CEO of Sahamati. Sahamati has been around for as long as Account Aggregator has been around. And we thought, who better to give us a perspective of how far the journey has come, how far the ecosystem has come in the last 1 year or 2.5 years, than Mahesh himself, who has been at it right from the beginning, has laid the foundation for Sahamati, working towards the advocacy and upliftment of Account Aggregator ecosystem. So over to you, Mahesh.
Thank you. Thank
Please
you.
give us.
Sorry for joining, actually late. So I was actually searching for something, even though I was organized. I'm sorry about it. So firstly, so I would like to thank all of you for joining the first Pragati event of 2024. So I would also want to take this opportunity to wish you all a happy new year. Even though January is almost done, but so better late than never. So I thought I will actually go over the things, what we have achieved or not achieved in the full 2023 calendar year. So in 2023, like the past few years, we had focused a lot on the supply side, because on the FIP side, so unless the supply side is good, like it is cross-sectoral, so data quality is good, the FIUs also will not be able to actually push their FIU use cases. So in end of 2022, so December, the number of FIPs were 128, and in 2023, so December, it was 400. So from 128, it has gone to 400. And the number of RBI entities in the AA ecosystem, it was 123 at the end of 22. And at the end of 23, it was 327. So from 123, it has gone to 327. I think the one which we are excited is also, I mean, we are excited about everything which happens, but we saw in SEBI, like the number of FIP entities in 22 was 0, and it went to 42 because all the funds, through their RTAs went live on AA, so which is through camps and K FinTech, and also CDSL and STL have actually gone live, and the FIUs at the end of the 22 were like about 16 SEBI entities which were FIUs were 16, and at the end of 23 it grew to 66, so it almost grew 4 times. So the one which we were working for a very long time, I would say from 2019, was so GSTN. We worked, it was actually gaining traction. Okay, then due to COVID, it actually took a back seat. And special thanks to Reserve Bank of India, AMOF, DFS, and yeah, countless volunteers from the ecosystem, which is from the AAs, the banks, the TSPs, and all of that. We saw, I should not say, we got it. So we saw, so GSTN went live in 2023. Yes, initially we have seen that it had some teething problems, and I heard only yesterday evening also that it has been improving. So GSTN is a very, very important FIP, as you all know, because it will power your cash flow lending, and the credit gap for MSMEs, as you all know, is very, very huge. So we are excited actually to see whether it is the lenders, either the banks or NBFCs or wealth managers or whoever it is, are able to use GSTN to guide their customer. So with GSTN actually going live, we can safely say that we are truly, truly cross-sectoral. Across the world, you all have heard about open banking, but in India, we straight away leapfrogged actually to open finance, because it was not only the banking, information, it was the capital, the capital market, your retirement fund, GST, and banking data. So now they all have actually gone live. So the number of accounts which have been linked in a ecosystem is almost 2 billion accounts. They have the A facility. So if they want to link, they can. But while it is a very, very impressive number, but if you see the size of the universe, we have achieved only 56%. So we still have a lot of work to do to get every consumer in the country who will be able to use this ecosystem, to gain access to formal financial services. And I'm sure in 2024, this number of 2 billion will increase substantially. And as you know, like you have 23 FI types, from Revit. At the end of 22, of these 23, 13 had actually gone live. And, as of 23, 16 have actually gone live. So 3 new FI types have actually gone, live in 2023. Now, obviously, I spoke about the supply side. Now we need to see, how much traction it has on the FIU side. How many consumers or how many entities are able to use our consented data to provide, any of the financial services. So, of the 2 billion accounts, which have the AA facility, the number of users or accounts which have been linked is 40 million or so. So that 40 million has to grow a lot more, towards the 2 billion. At the end of 22, we actually had only 3.2 million accounts were linked, and at the end of 23, it went to 40. So it definitely and very, very impressive actually growth. And the number of consents also which were fulfilled were almost the same. About 40 million consents were fulfilled at the end of 2023. And now we have seen a very, very active participations on the FIU side. Now we have about 360 of them, and in end of 22 we had only 128. So from 128 it has actually grown to 360, which also we have seen that translates to the number of consents, which we saw was 40 million. Now, if you see the quantum, I mean, you have several use cases. The low-hanging fruit or the most popular one has been the lending. So the quantum of the loans which were disbursed using the AA framework in 2023 was close to $1.6 billion, which translates to 1.3 lakh crores, which was only 13.5 lakh loans in 2022. I mean, into 2023, but in 2022 it is like if I got it right, the quantum was sorry, here I have to say which I got the number wrong here. Yeah. So the cumulative amount of loans which have been given out since the launch, which was in September 2021, officially we went live. So from September 2021 to end of the December 2023, the quantum of the loans which were disbursed was about $2.4 billion, and then the number of loans which are given out since inception was about 18 lakh loans. Majority of it, as we see, it has happened in the calendar year of 2023. Now, the feedback which we have actually received from the lenders, they have seen from the very first day of using AA is the fraud rates of all the loans which flow through AA, it has shrunk to zero. It has not reduced like this thing. It has just shrunk to zero for the simple reason all the information the FIU gets is directly from the FIP. Now we see that the ones who are using the AA the most are the NBFCs and the RIAs from SEBI, and the PSU banks in the last few months have been picking up. So I'm sure in 2024 we will see the public sector banks pushing the gas pedal, and the amount they will use AA will actually grow exponentially. And I'm hope by 2024 by Jan 2025, I'll be able to give you a large, I mean, far bigger numbers of the performance of the account aggregator. Now, if you see that, what were the crucial developments in 2023? Your GSTN, as I said, has gone live. The few of the schemas got finalized, like the life insurance, general insurance, and by which few of their FIPs went live, and the FIUs are now able to use the insurance data, even though the usage is a bit low, but it has started. And for the first time we saw that a regulator, so PFRDA to be specific, gave a lot of clarity on which of their entities can participate or cannot participate in the AO ecosystem. You all maybe would have heard about like including SEBI had come out with a consultation paper on who should be allowed to participate in the ecosystem as an FIU, and Sahamati has obviously replied to that, saying that we do want to see all the entities under under SEBI should be able to participate as FIU. We are still waiting to hear the final findings, from them on who they want to stop from participating, as an FIU. And the circular from RBI was very, very encouraging, where they said every FIU should, be an FIP. I mean, every FIU, if they have any of the relevant schemas, okay, then they must be an FIP. So I know, even though in spirit, I would say to a very large extent, every entity under RBI which was an FIU was an FIP, but it obviously always helps, when we have a circular of from RBI, to make it official. So finally, you all would have heard of the DPDP Act, the account aggregator. The fundamentals are actually based on the personal privacy, the act, which is like any data which is shared with anybody should be consented. It should have a purpose code. It should be revocable. All those are there in the DPDP Act, and it is, we are happy to say that all those important principles of the DPDP is already there in the account aggregator framework, but we will have to closely watch the DPDP rules, which will come only in the month of May or June, and we'll have to see what impact it will have on the AA framework. But I would think to a large extent we are already complying, with the DPDP Act. And of course, I would like to say that it becomes very important for each of the entities, the FIPs, FIUs, the TSP and Sahamati, to study DPDP and to ensure that we are compliant. Because if we are not compliant, we can attract a very, very huge financial penalty. So with that, I would, again, want to thank you for joining this important Pragati event. I think now you will also hear from our team on what our plans are for this calendar year. So thank you, Ruchi.
Thank you, Mahesh. That was a very good encapsulation of what the year has been, rather what last 2.5 years have been, covering statistics to, the regulatory changes. So thank you, Mahesh, for your time. So next segment, we move on to the presentation. The presentation on account aggregator is divided into two parts. One part is taking you all through a little deep dive into what 2023 has been about in terms of numbers, in terms of use cases, in terms of certain changes that have happened, how the entire diaspora has changed. And then the second part is about what lies ahead in 2024. So I will share my screen now, and I will take one half of the presentation, and then it will be my colleague Abhishek who will come. So Mahesh, I will stop your video so that we can share the screen. Yeah, just a moment, please.
Do you want me to share the screen?
Yeah, for some reason the slideshow is not showing.
I'll
Funny.
share it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, yeah, this is a personal favorite slide because it just, for those of us who have been in the ecosystem right from the beginning, it swells us up, because look at the left side, the graph, which is a normal concentric circle graph showing just a handful of early adopters of this ecosystem. So this graph on the infographic on the left side is of August 2021. And on the right side, what you see is of December 2023. On the left side, you see some banks, private banks, some TSPs, just about 4 operational account aggregators who are, and some NBFCs and a couple of RIAs who are a part of, who were the initial early adopters, the early believers of the framework. And today, we are here talking to about more than 500 entities who are at different stages of adoption of the ecosystem. The right side, of course, is just a small depiction of the entire AA ecosystem today. But we have 14 operational account aggregators, more than 60 TSPs, like Mahesh said, about more than 400 live entities which are as FIUs and FIPs. So it's burgeoning, it's growing, and it's actually scaling up nationwide across geographies and across sectors. So just a quick snapshot of what is account aggregator. We all know what is account aggregator. It's a digital framework. It is a digital data sharing framework with certain key USPs. One, of course, it is digital in nature, so that automatically takes care of a lot of challenges that data sharing we face in data sharing in the current scenario in the world of sharing hard copies or internet scraping, screen scraping, so on and so forth. So this digital framework automatically combats all those challenges. Second, it is real time. Third, it is secure provided by the technical framework that the technical ring fencing that the framework provides makes it a very, very secure data sharing process. And the most important, it is consented. As a customer, I'm fully aware of which data of mine needs to be shared with whom, has to come from which entity and goes to which entity, completely in the know-how of the customer. And of course, it is the only framework which is cross-sectoral in nature, which means that if I want to open an investment account today, or I say I already have an investment account and I want to move into the F&O segment for which I need to show my bank statement, my SEBI registered stockbroker will be able to request for my bank transaction statement from my RBI registered bank. So this is how it is cross-sectoral, of course, with my consent completely. So this is how it is cross-sectoral. Entities from one sector will be able to utilize data from the other sector in a digital and machine readable format, coming completely encrypted. So that is what account aggregator is all about, and that is what all the entities have implemented in their journeys. Have implemented in their journey. So we spoke about how big the account aggregator ecosystem has become. It's more than 500 entities. It is, so many accounts linked, so many consents fulfilled. There are various factors that have worked together to get us where it is today. And all these factors will continue to work together in a synchronized manner to go through the other exponential growth cycle. So what are these factors? If you look on the supply side, we have nearly 56% of all the financial accounts that are covered across the 4 sectors. We have depositories, we have almost all RNTs, insurances, GSTN, which is live as FIPs, and data types that are available. So Mahesh mentioned that there are 23 schemas that are published by Rebit, of which 15 are already available. I said 16 because insurance has recently got split into life and general, but 15 are available to be ready to be consumed by an FIU as data. So supply side is getting robust, and at the same time on the demand side also we see a big requirement. So of course there are nearly 380 to 400 FIUs that are live in the ecosystem. Lending is the biggest use case, but soon to follow by personal finance management, loan monitoring. So a recurring consent is a very important feature of account aggregator framework, and the lending industry as well as the PFM industry is applying it very, very effectively to create to create the right notifications, to enable collections, monitoring, so on and so forth. It's also usage by stockbrokers is getting picked up immensely. Mahesh spoke about the DPDP Act, the act that legally binds is legally binding on data flow, and how account aggregator is the only real manifestation of the DPDP Act today. There is also the fourth force which is at work, which is the code of conduct. Code of conduct, which is Sahamati is anchoring a number of code of conducts, best practices, and guidelines, which for various communities within the ecosystem, which will help to strengthen it will help to strengthen the ecosystem. Two, it will help in uh, growth and smooth functioning of the ecosystem. So when the processes are in place, when the functioning can happen smoothly, then growth automatically catches up even quickly than what would happen in a not very clean environment. So code of conduct is another very important force that's at work, which has so far led to growth of this ecosystem and is going to take us to the next level of growth as well. Abhishek? Yeah. So some statistics, if we compare from 2022 to 2023, it's a lot of it has already been spoken by Mahesh in his keynote. Today we have end of 2023, we have 1.94 billion financial accounts that are enabled, and it's a 100% increase from end of 2022, where there were about 1.1 billion financial accounts that were enabled. Look at this number, the consents that the data sharing number. It is extremely impressive. We are today at 40.8 million successful data share, and vis-a-vis 3.32, which was exactly a year ago from now. This arrow that you see move upwards is extremely encouraging to the existing community and to the other participants who are still at the fence on implementation. If you look at the biggest use case today, lending, if you look at loans disbursed, the quantum of loans, the value of rather loans disbursed in the first half of the financial year of 2024, and compare it with the previous year, the entire of previous year 2023, uh, in the first half alone, we have more than, or rather, it has been more than double of the last financial year. So the last financial year was 75 billion, and then the next 6 months automatically went up to 203 billion. And there has been a month-on-month growth rate of 23%. So extremely encouraging numbers. And this is what you will see in the sectors as well. So if you look at the cross-sectoral numbers, the sector-wise number rather of FIPs vis-a-vis FIU, you will see more than double, triple. That is absolutely exponential growth from last year to this year, whether it is in as FIPs, as providers of data, or as users of data. And of course, 23 has also seen the introduction of SEBI entities and GST as FIP. Abhishek? So across these 146 FIPs is the 15 data types that have got activated. From the 23 data types, there are 15 that are activated. This is the breakup of the 146 FIPs across RBI entities, stockbrokers, AMCs, depositories, CRAs, GST, and insurance. Likewise, these entities that are using, what we have seen is the 15 data types that are being used by 146 entities. Let's move to the FIUs, that is 363 FIUs that are using account aggregator framework to successfully underwrite loans, monitor loans, do bank account verifications, do account opening, personal finance management, and policy issuance as well, and income verification. So the spectrum of use cases has also increased substantially, as and they are very rightfully using the data that's coming from these 15 data types. So with that, we have given you a quick snapshot of how far the ecosystem has come. I will now hand it over to Abhishek, my colleague, to tell us what the next calendar year 2024 looks for Account Aggregator. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruchi, for the description. So, hi all, I am Abhishek. I lead partnership for Sahamati. In my the other slide, which I'll take you through, we'll focus on how the evolution of AI has happened and what is the future lies, how the next phase looks like. We'll take you through the current and future use cases and the initial impact it has had on the since lending being the major use case right now. What is the impact and how do we see it growing next? And also for we'll dwell upon new use cases which are apart from the financial normal financial use cases of offering the financial products. So in the first phase, uh, the as Mahesh ji and Ruchi emphasized that there were around 15 different account data type which was enabled on account aggregator coming from the 5 regulators involving Department of Revenue as the fifth one, which enabled GST and as FIP. We have seen the evolution adoption of this since GST came at the last. So during the later part of the later part of the year, we are seeing many of the companies started using it initially. In the next phase, there are two focus area. First one is to ensure that the FIP coverage. There are around 175 entities which we have seen that they are not part of account aggregator. We'll try to the focus area is to get them on board and start using them, make them as FIP and as also as FIUs. If I categorize them, we see payment banks or foreign banks are among those which are not live on A. The second focus area, right, would be to ensure that other data types which can help in evaluation of or which can enable seamless delivery of financial products can be enabled. Like uh, joint account is one of the thing which many of the market participants are asking that they want the access to this. So there is a committee which is working on this, and some representation has been made to the regulators. CBDT is another data type which we are working on. So if we see the current gamut of data types available, which GST is there, banking data is there. Once CBDT is there, so we can see at least lending, paperless lending can be enabled once CBDT data also comes in. So we are discussing this with the department and working on it. Several proposals involving getting e-invoices on GST and getting e-way bills are also being discussed to get on board on A. So, as we are aware that the DPDP Act came into place. So we see the migration of this happening in coming times to other sectors, and we'll have similar implementation like account aggregator and for other sectors also like property records, your credit cards, telco data, and health. So just imagine an effort has been made that these consent managers, they should be interoperable with each other, and to imagine the use case, if we consider a health insurance offering a health cover to a customer, if we have the health data or of the health data of the customer and plus adding to the financial data, more personalized offers can be given to the customer, a better offer, and also from a customer point of view, the disputes which they get at the time of the claim processing, it can be reduced further. And also the delta which the insurance companies charges in terms of non-declaration of some diseases, etc., can also be solved. So the power will extend a lot once all these consent managers in different sectors come together and these different consent managers start talking to each other. So talking about the use cases, I'll take you through the what are the current use cases. We all know that onboarding, underwriting is the major use cases across different sectors, starting with lending. Uh, with account aggregator, we see that banks and NBFCs have come on a similar level playing field because initially when we talk about banking, they always had an edge of monitoring customer while they have the bank account of the customers. But NBFC didn't had that. So once they have given the loan, they couldn't access the bank statement of the customer. So via account aggregator monitoring consent, now the NBFC can also monitor the customer during the loan journey. So this is one of the key feature of the account aggregator framework, which many of the company have started during later of the last year, and during we have interacted with them during the what are the different use cases of AI. With one of we understand that account aggregator is majorly many of the customers were digital savvy, but there is a segment of customers which are not digital savvy, and assisted account aggregator journey is required to get them onboarded on the AA framework and to start getting benefit of AA. So our work is being done in terms of using Aadhaar as an identifier for the customers, so that linking and discovery can be made easy, and via assisted mode via VC agents. With coming up of utility bill and telco data in future, small ticket size of loans can be handled because these are the alternate data if the customer don't have their banking digital footprints, transaction footprints, then these data types also help in evaluating the customers. Loan against securities, mutual fund and insurance, another thing which many of the lenders have been discussing and evaluating how AI can help them giving the customer a better offering. Considering one of the interaction I had where the lender was saying that while they offer a personal loan, there is a huge drop off because many a times the customer is not fulfilling their underwriting parameters. So simultaneously, if they during the loan during the age journey, if they get the access to the mutual funds or the term deposit they have or the insurance they have or the shares they have, they can also offer him a better product in terms of loan against securities, which may increase their funnel and also offering to the customers, because since these are secure products, a better offering can be pitched to the customers. Uh, there is a use case if currently account aggregator don't have a masked so have a masked bank account which is delivered. So if the bank account is unmasked, the use case can spread across, replacing penny drop services where the through via a channel they can have access to the bank account. It can be used in lending as well as for your capital markets or the insurance companies. So and on the live side, our major use case has been in terms of evaluating customer for term insurances. Now, with more data, it would be and seamless data coming from account aggregator. It is very easily the many of the insurance companies reported a huge of benefit in terms of reducing the overall time in terms of giving the product, also in terms of fraud rates, and also while evaluating the customer, they are able to evaluate customer in a much better form than before. On the health side, these data points can help into getting more advanced data analytics and offer more profile-based offer to the customers. Income tax data is one CBDT is being, as I discussed, it was used by lender, it is used by insurers also. Once it is on board, it can it can make the whole product cycle more seamless. So on the security market, one of the use case which has come up is wealth advisory, which many of the companies are using, and it has a huge impact in terms of customers being able to having 360 view of his assets spread across your mutual funds, your demat account, your multiple bank accounts. So that has been a big achievement for the industry, and many of the customers are liking this product. Since now till while the ecosystem was evolving, we see lending is the one of the major use case which has come up. So we have tried to quantify this impact while getting this data from the company, which contributes to around 90 to 95% of the consent fulfilled. Now here we see the overall impact is total number of disbursement which is done is 203 billion accounts and which has benefited around 21 lakh customers and enterprises. On a housing finance side, we see the adoption has come from more from a affordable housing finance sector where average ticket size is around 21 lakhs. We see unsecured business loan average ticket size at 12 lakhs. But but with GSTN coming and settling in, we see this number to drop off in a much higher fashion, because you will have more of cash flow based lending, invoice based lending will increase, and we'll have loan for on a shorter ticket size. So that traction we are expecting to pick up in later this year, and now many of the companies are working on GSTN data. So we will see the average ticket size, overall average ticket size, getting reduced in a much higher form. So that is the impact which it has on the lending side. In via AA data, and also the way the country is growing, economy is growing, having more digital, the customers, the citizens have more digital footprints. We see that in coming 5 years, we predict that migration, the percent migration will happen from credit underserved population to credit served population, and 30% migration from credit underserved to credit served, which cause around 170 million to have access to credit. So it's a huge opportunity for everyone, which A is also A being one of the major contribution which will enable it for the lenders. Like I said that we'll discuss on the probable use cases which we are working on right now, and it has a much higher impact. Is one of the use cases, nominee use case where we know that currently there is more than 1.25 lakh crore unclaimed amount. So via AIDs, we are trying to solve two problems. One is how easily the customer or citizen can be made accessible to to all the asset where the nomination information is given, yes or no, and also to building a capability where he has a opportunity on one app or screen, he can actually update the nominee details and also change the nominee details. That is something which is under work. We understand that passbook is one of the major one of the very important, plays a very important role in terms of rural customers and farmers who keep on getting this regular printing of these passbooks. And for this, they have to actually reach out to either bank or the BC agent, and that has to be their specific bank for where the account is there. Now via AA rails, it can be so all the BC agent can be made independent. They can have this access via FIU rails, that they can get the bank statement printed for any of the bank. We are also working with Ministry of Rural Development, where we are helping them in terms of helping them in terms of evaluating the impact of the skill development program, which DDU GKY, where they will be able to see the how many numbers of people they have trained, and actually how many of them got placed. And they also had some criteria in terms of the how much salary they should have. So those inferences we via A we are helping them to enable them on the screen and actually see the visibility of the impact of the program they run. Assisted account aggregator, as I discussed before, is something which we are working, and one of the use case comes in MORD also, because these customers are just rural young guys who have just started their career, or they have been upskilling. They have been given some skill via which they can get a jobs. So the assisted account aggregator can be used there also, because one of the key identifier here becomes Aadhaar. So these are the use cases which, apart from the financial major use cases, which we would be driving this year. Some of the enablers which, or some of the resources which Sahamati gives to all FIUs and FIPs or the market participants, I'll just take you through them, and we can have access to this on our website, and you can write to us directly to get access to particular, and if you need more understanding on any of these. So one first is the support portal. I think many of you would be using it to raise tickets, and in terms of if you face issue while any transaction related to consent transaction on the account aggregator framework. A feedback which we have got that from the many of the FIUs, that they are not able to predict if the particular FIP is working fine or not, and there are huge drop-offs. So we came up with a dashboard which gives you an insight on how various APIs are performing on a real time. Now we are currently at a beta version of API, and so these dashboard were a bit difficult for FIUs to actually understand and keep monitoring, because somebody has to go on the website and keep seeing it. So now we have come up with the API, which gives you a response in terms of good, bad, worst, the basis performance of various FIPs plus at the API level. So that is under a beta phase, which will be rolled out to all soon. And you can get a benefit where you can drastically reduce your drop off, since you will now know if the particular time the customer should be passed to the AA flow, or you have to redirect him for the normal flow, which is currently present. Code of conduct helps you, while the master direction gives you a sense of uh, at a top level how the regulator has kept the regulations, but on the ground, when you come implement it, there are several challenges which via working with various working groups and with the help of community, we deliberate and have actually released some guidelines. Around 120 guidelines are already there, which gives you actionable on how the particular regulation should be read, or how it is being implemented by the various market participants. The UI, we have worked with with IDEO to build a common community design report, which you can have directly, you can pick from our website and use it in your journey, which gives you a reference journey of best reference journey, which is possible, which can be made uh, for everyone's use. So as Ruchi said that DPDP Act is a actual implementation of consent managers. It uh, it has actually helped to codify consent manager into a law. So we'll see a migration from financial service consent managers to a more alternate data consent managers at different sectors. So, and if they are made interoperable, since the efforts are being made that once these designs are done, these consent managers can talk to each other, it will have a ripple effect and has a huge impact on overall financial industry. So that's all from our side on how we see AI evolving in coming times. So Sahamati, just a brief on what Sahamati does. We are a Section 8 not-for-profit organization, whose mandate is to actually strengthen account aggregator framework in the ecosystem. We do such workshops. We have done more than 400 workshops now. We also anchor participation terms and techno-legal services, which participation terms you would be aware, which you have signed. And on the techno side, we also anchor token services and central registries, and we set standard for the certifiers. So this is what Sahamati is. I think we can open up for question Q&A, and we'll answer the questions which you have also mentioned. So
Right. Okay. Thank you, Abhishek. We do have a few questions in the Q&A box. Some of them have been answered already. There are some that are yet to get answered. We have about 10 minutes, so we can take those up. So the first one is, how can we get GST data of customers? Is it seamless? Vinita Jain has written that they are an HFC that use GST returns of customers. And is Sahamati also giving any intelligence related to banking, like salary credit date, highest balance dates, etc.?
okay. So should I take up, Ruchi?
Yes, Abhishek.
Yes, GST data is seamless. Right now, there is a 15 minutes lag, which is there from a FIP side, which we are working on. And we see that the 15 minutes will be reduced to 5 minutes. So if you request a data, tentative, you are expecting a response within 5 minutes. And right now, the GSTR 1 table 4 and GSTR 3B data is enabled on A. So that is available. And in terms of giving intelligence, so Sahamati is an industry body. We are not an account aggregator. So intelligence layer is being enabled via TSPs. You'll see some of the TSPs giving their presentation after this. And while the AA enables you to get a raw data from FIPs, but but the intelligence can be built by the TSP layer. I hope I answered your query, Vinita.
Yes. Okay. Uh, right. So there is a question by Vicky. Can you please explain with one more use case where AA needs to integrate or coordinate with another account aggregator. So, Vicky, interoperability is between account aggregators and FIPs on one end and FIUs on the other end. Account aggregators do not talk to one another. They are not interoperable amongst one another. They are interoperable with FIPs and FIUs. So the system is designed in such a way that there is API integrations between regulated entities as providers on one end, users on the other end, and consent managers in the center. Consent managers do not talk to each other. Hope that clarifies. What is the status of LIC joining account aggregator? LIC is in the implementation stage of in the account aggregator framework. They are actually live with a small set which we call as live enabled, and they are very much a part of our other discussion groups as well. So it's something that will definitely happen soon. Would be good to know how do we drive adoption with end customers, especially those not in the financial system yet. So I would like to, I'm not quite able to understand this question because the framework is today for the financial sector, for consumers who are in the financial sector. Definitely, there is a need to drive awareness to the end customer as well, which will be taken up, will be taken up by businesses, by account aggregators, by our regulated entities themselves. So a need to create awareness amongst the individuals and businesses as consumers is there, and which is happening. We do see some bit of it happening. So we did see the RBI Kehta Hai initiative, which spoke about account aggregator during the World Cup series that happened a couple of months ago. So there is work that's happening, but also having said that, the entire ecosystem is also getting established and strengthened. So a lot of moving parts, and definitely customer awareness is a big part of it, which will happen in the days and months to come. Will consent interoperability for Data Protection Act will be given to AAs only, or framework can be used by any enterprise to build on their own? Will consent interoperability for Data Protection Act be given to? So Abhishek, you can add in this, but what I, from my end, would like to say is the guidelines, the rules are yet to come out. It should come out any time, the Data Protection Act rules, and it's best for us to wait at that point for the formal rules to come out and not speculate on what will happen in the future. And how will consent managers be treated, or how will the new how will it allow any other organization to be a part of this act? I think we'll just have to wait for the formal rules to be out for us to know get our answers. Is GST data available for non-sole proprietor like corporates or commercial companies?
So yeah, it is available for all. So unlike your bank statement data, which bank transactions where only sole prop and single account are enabled on A, on GST we have private limited companies and your non-sole proprietor accounts and sole proprietor account, and which are there available on A.
So when will RRBs and cooperative banks go live?
All the RRBs are live now.
Yes.
We are working in terms of increasing the use when RRBs become a user of the A. Cooperative bank, there is a pilot which is there, which NABARD is working on. So there are some approval which are pending. If the approval comes, I think it will immediately enable more than 100 cooperative bank to join account aggregator.
So on that note, I would also like to say that there is a section on our website called as Industry Stats, which has information on, of course, the usage metrics of the ecosystem, the network participants, the interoperability, which AMCs are part of, are live, so on and so forth. So it's a very important section which will give you a lot of information on where the ecosystem stands today. So I've put a link to one of the reports over there, but please have a look at it on our website. So we just have about 1 more minute. We'll take as many questions. Any particular question, Abhishek, that you see here which you'd like to answer right away?
We can take up the next. How can LSP use the AA data for REs? So right now there is so the data can be accessed to by the regulated entities only, and then it comes. We'll not step into how RE share this data with LSP. And if considering if LSP, we have seen that many LSP have their TSPs who does the underwriting work from them in terms of giving inferences, but that comes under outsourcing norms, guidelines of RBI.
Can tech companies get data, the ones who develop PFM data? This is a completely regulated framework on both ends, as providers and users of data are regulated entities. So are regulated by any one of the four financial service regulators. So you will be able to consume data or get data of a customer in a consented fashion only if you are a regulated entity.
So Ruchi, we should
Okay.
move for others.
So, yeah, there are a few
Meanwhile,
more
I'll
questions.
try to answer it on the chat.
Okay. So, there are a few more questions which Abhishek will try to respond to. Uh, in in the interest of time, let us move on. For anybody who doesn't get a response to their questions, please write to us at info@sahamati.org.in. I have pasted the email on the chat box, in the chat box. So, yeah, thank you for hearing through the presentation. As part of Pragati, we always have a section which is for the newer audiences, for audiences who are watching us, getting to know about account aggregator system and interested in implementation of the account aggregator system. The second part of the Pragati session is called as TSP Spotlight, which is in very easy terms a call to action for all that we spoke about. So you have heard about account aggregator, you've heard about its benefits, you've heard about the need of implementation of account aggregator framework within your organization. And then you will now hear from technology companies who have been a part of the ecosystem, developing solutions, implementing the data standards, and developing solutions for different communities within the ecosystem. They will come ahead and present the solutions so that you can decide on how you can implement the framework within your organizations. So we have two TSPs who will be presenting today. Each of them will take about 30 minutes. The presentation will be a combination of a little bit of information in terms of theory and demonstration. So let us first start with Niti AI. We already have Hari, who is here. He's the CEO and co-founder, and we also have Shiv, who is a part of Niti AI. So without taking any more time, Hari and Shiv, I hand over the stage to you. Thank you. You'll have to unmute. Maybe I can't hear you. Or you'll have to join with the computer audio. Yeah, Shiv, you're audible.
I think are we getting audio through from the Niti team here?
Yes. Okay, now audible. Yeah.
So, hi. Okay, I think we are all set.
I think you're joined from the same room. So
Yes, we are.
Okay,
so Shiv is going to keep the audio on and Arun is going to mute it.
Yes.
And okay, I think that's better. So we're just getting the screen sharing going here for a second. Hi, everybody. We are Niti AI and we'll be unveiling a full stack solution for the account aggregator ecosystem today. My name is Hari Subramanian, and with me I have Arvind Ranganathan, who is my co-founder. We both built our careers as tech and product leaders in consumer big tech companies, helping build platforms and infrastructures for them like payments platform, risk analytics, marketing, machine learning platforms. And we are strong believers in the India stack story and the digital public infrastructure in India, both as volunteers building the product nation, as well as building on top of the India stacks at Niti AI. We also have Shiv today, who is part of our founding team on the panel, who is going to be helping with the presentation. Niti Loop is an embedded finance platform that allows the co-creation of financial products between brands, fintechs, NBFCs, and banks and financial institutions, respecting the compliance norms of the regulator. If you're a platform, marketplace, or even a small finance bank or NBFC, we want to help you launch innovative financial products as white label solutions. From our no-code platform, you can access prefabricated products, adapt them to your brand and design language, and directly launch it to your customers. All of this can be fully self-service and no-code if you choose to, or we could be your TSP assisting with the digital transformation. If you're a fintech or a large bank and building with your in-house tech team, you want to be the destination for any fintech products that you create, because the no-code platform significantly accelerates your innovation and saves time and effort for your internal teams. Our first product is a fully white-labeled open banking solution based on Account Aggregator. We give you a unified solution to unlock the 3 key layers of the AA value chain: consent layer, data layer, and the experiences layer, all in a single platform. The platform offers fully ready solutions that can go live in days for you, but also gives you, as in your design, developer, compliance, marketing, and business team, so it's holistic across your organization. Immense flexibility and self-service modifications that can be done at any time on the platform for these solutions. Now let's start off with the consent layer. It's the first of its kind collaborative platform for co-creation of embedded consent journeys that are fully compliant. First, let's help you launch. First, of course, we help you launch great consent journeys, and that's the easy part, right? And that is fully brand compliant for the FIU. However, some of the other challenges are, for instance, creating a fully embedded brand compliant journey is a huge challenge in the ecosystem. FIUs have a strong demand for this capability that they fully design it, and they want to also change it if their designs evolve. And the account aggregators have the compliance need to host some of these screens on their systems to ensure they protect the data principles from the bad actors. So here, there's a lot of Figma or SDK sharing, redirecting of web URL, lots of time spent coordinating across FIU and AA to ensure picture-perfect UIs. We intend to completely short-circuit this process with a native UI UX capability of our platform. We give FIUs, or can be the TSPs, a fully no-code way to building the AA consent journey. Second, the platform allows you to switch account aggregators automatically. Now you would ask, why is this important? To give the FIUs the choice and better customer experience of the account aggregator, that they don't need to re-register their end customer to a new AA, or the privacy that the end principal wants to manage all of their consents in a single account aggregator. And finally, to offer better availability, performance, and cost to the FIUs. Third, we help minimize drop-offs in the consent journey and maximize conversions, which is a big problem in the ecosystem. There's a lot of stuff to unpack there. Let's look at all of this with a demo. Now we'll be switching screens and getting to our platform.
Yeah, 1 second. I'm not able to share my entire screen. I don't know why.
Is the alternate screen? Okay, excellent. So introducing Loop, our no-code platform, which lets us launch pre-built consent journeys with full brand compliance. You can take our pre-created front end and apply your theme and customize it to your needs. We have several themes here already available, and you can actually bring your own theme, which can be onboarded in a minute. Or you can also build from scratch the entire consent journey if it does not fit your design language. More on that later. Once this journey is ready, shipping this to your FIU app is just a few clicks. No app upgrades or any DevOps required on your end. Now, we are switching to a sample FIU app into which this consent journey is available, and it's fully powered through our platform. This here is a fully embedded journey, no iframes or bulky SDKs to deal with, and the control seamlessly goes from the FIU's app to the AA TSP or the account aggregator itself, as the case may be. You're still seeing, in this case, screens that are built by the account aggregator or the TSP, and more on that, how to make them custom as we unpack them. Now that we have made it really easy for you to take a consent journey and then launch it and in minutes, let's talk about how can we support multiple account aggregators. So onboarding a second account aggregator into a platform is really trivial. Let's say we'll go ahead and add a second account aggregator as a provider in a platform. We have several providers, and we'll tell you what a provider is. Now, say you're an FIU, why would you want to work with multiple AAs? Because you probably want to take some of your traffic and divert it and split it across multiple AAs, perhaps to load balance or for commercial reasons, right? So let's actually, now that we have added, let's see if we can switch the account aggregator completely using the platform. And there is a complete no-code way of doing that. We just have to go and make that switch. Now, one of the problems that we solve in this layer that we intend to is that if there is a failure in the platform, we would like to automatically switch over to the alternate account aggregator. And for each onboarded API provider, the platform automatically tracks analytics and for all the API accesses in real time. So you can track what are the SLAs, actual uptimes, any failures or latencies right from this dashboard that Shiv is just flashing. Just like how Sans does it at the central level, we have built it at the platform level for account aggregator, but intend to bring it for any embedded finance use case that you would have. We're constantly measuring all API latencies, failures, that gives us the ability to auto-detect failures and quickly fail over to another AA if that happens. Of course, the AAs that we work with have rock-solid APIs, but just for the sake of the demo, let's assume that we've simulated a failure. And then when you reattempt to log in, exact same consent journey, you've not changed anything, but the control seamlessly should shift over to the new account aggregator. Okay. With such consent journeys built using the platform, FIUs can provide a unified UX powered by multiple providers. They can avoid multiple redirects, SDK integrations, and just use one SDK and flow for this consent. Now, having looked at conversion, consents and how you can do switches, let's see how we can actually optimize conversions for the consent journeys. Because for an FIU, they're very interested in making sure that the consent flows actually go through. Today, unfortunately, the account aggregator ecosystem still faces the challenge of a large number of drop-offs owing to various reasons, including awareness. We have a native and out-of-box solution for this problem. For any flow launched in a platform, you go to campaign analytics and you see the analytics where for every flow, without integrating a separate Google Analytics or something similar, we are tracking your daily actives, monthly actives, and the entire conversion funnel. You can see here with a simulated flow that there's a huge drop-off that is happening in the consent flow. From looking at the flow, we also can see that this is happening in the consent stage. So you can instantly download a CSV file from this analytics tab of every customer that dropped off. Let's say that there is a drop-off due to the lack of awareness, then you can even retarget those customers by educating them about the consent journey. In our platform, we have pre-built journeys just for that. So let's say there is a consent drop-off due to awareness. We are looking at a journey where we have been able to publish, and this journey could educate your customer about the value of the account aggregator for them. You could even embed a YouTube video here that actually makes them aware of why they should be using account aggregator. And you can only target this to those customers that actually dropped off. And today in this demo, we showed you how you can target, again, using an in-app flow or a journey, but you could do that on WhatsApp, in-app notifications, emails, all from our platform. Excellent. Now, remember I talked to you earlier about how we want to solve the problem of co-creation and how we want to allow for give the FIUs the flexibility of creating the consent screens for the entire consent journey. For this, what we have baked into the platform is something called role-based access control. So in the platform, you're able to add the account aggregator as well as the FIU, and the FIU can actually build the journey just like how they would build in a Figma. And in this case, let's look at this journey where they have some of these important screens that are hosted by the account aggregator, like the list of bank accounts that actually get the accounts that come from the account aggregator layer. This screen is also can be created in the same app, just like how you would do it in a Figma. And then it can be reviewed and approved, and all of that audit trail can be completely managed inside the platform, and that's what you're seeing here. Shiv show you. So if you're an FIU that wants to make it easy for your account aggregator to adhere to your design language, reach out to us. And the Loop platform is made for you to create the entire journey, including the AA screens, and then the code can be shared with the account aggregator for them to actually then take it on and post. And if you're an account aggregator, we want to integrate with you closely so you can take these strong capabilities to your FIUs. It can be a completely embedded product from your end with zero DevOps, all without compromising on any of the compliance, security guidelines, and you have full control over the critical AA screens from a consent perspective. Okay, that was quite a bit that we covered under consent. Now that we have largely solved many key aspects of the consent problem, let's see how to unlock the value of the data that comes from the account aggregator. The platform comes with an enterprise-grade business rule engine with unprecedented agility for everybody in your organization. We ingest data from account aggregator and other standard sources, merge them with various data sources. This includes your custom internal data or third-party data that you might want to include all within our no-code platform. We have a ton of pre-built insights which you can directly leverage from the platform. What's special is that you can take these features and compute unlimited additional features, insights, and rules using the platform. Complete self-service if you wish, or we can be your TSP helping you through this journey. And finally, insights without actioning is meaningless. So we want to help you with predefined actions so you can act on the insights and the intelligence that's made available through this repository of AA data. Now, let's again look at all of this through a series of short demos. Now, if you go to the connections part of the Loop platform, this is completely no-code API integration layer built right into the platform. Think of it as a rapid API built into the platform. We have the notion of a provider on the platform. Journeys of various journeys, front-end and back-end workflows get powered by these providers. And many of these providers come pre-integrated, like you saw on the last slide. Adding a provider is a breeze. If you have a Postman collection or a JSON that is just a copy-paste into our platform, and every API gets onboarded. And you can actually also go and look at various aspects of these APIs. You can set credentials. You can test the endpoints. You can look at analytics of all of these APIs. All of these are available. So if your APIs are actually connecting, their latency, success rates, all tracked through the platform. So this is your one-stop shop for API integration for embedded finance. So after you have connected different sources, naturally the next thing that you want to do is derive insights and nudge users to take actions on top of that data. For that, we have the notion of features on the platform. Features aggregate different data sources to derive an insight. So let's go ahead and look at a sample feature. So let's calculate, for instance, the account balance the customer has against the EMI that they may have to pay. We can use this feature to drive a nudge to the customer to ensure they maintain at least the minimum balance required for the EMI, right? So you have seen here that there are multiple sources that are available that you can aggregate from, like an account aggregator, Sybil, EMI. You have selected the right sort of sources for this particular insight. You can then see the platform takes these data sources as input, computes and emits a feature as an insight, which is the account aggregator is less than the EMI. In fact, your data scientists and data analysts can write very simple SQL to be able to do this. Now that you've got a peek into what we are working on, now I wanted to give you a peek into what we are working on in the labs. We also want to enable so that we can have co-pilots for text to function creation so that your business teams can write these features and you don't even need data analysts and data scientists. Features that you define in this platform are your intellectual property and they remain private to you. The natural next thing after getting these insights is computing nudges, right? And to be using these insights to nudge the user to take an action. Using the previously computed feature, let's nudge the user for an early warning signal so that they actually maintain the right minimum balance. And that is also possible in the platform. Let's add a condition to maintain the minimum balance for EMI and nudge the user. And that's the condition logic. And then we can power multiple actions like publishing a flow like before, sending an email, sending a WhatsApp message, in-app notification, all through the platform. Now let's see this published in the FIU sample FIU app. Great. Now you have a contextual nudge that is coming, sitting right inside your app. This could be embedded anywhere in your app. Imagine when the user logs in, and that tells them about what they have to do based on the insight that you just had. So to recap, we are using the platform, the exact same platform, to connect different data sources, aggregate data, create features, drive insights on top, and nudges and actions all from the platform. Now, adding other such early warning signals, such as say the salary did not get credited on the same day that before the EMI is due, or your debt to income ratio is skewed, or your credit score is deteriorating, all of that is possible within the same infrastructure, super easy. On the liability sides or on the wealth side, if you want to say, look for, find investment opportunities for your customers based on their account balance, you could power such journeys as well if you're an RIA, for instance. Now that we have shown how to derive insights from data, let's explore how to make it really, really easy for building great experiences and actions. And we really excel in building phenomenal user interfaces. Our platform lets you hyper-personalize your app and experiment with ready-to-launch customer experiences that are easy to create and modify completely using no-code UI UX. These experiences help launch personalized personal finance management, business cash flow management capabilities. It lets a lender or a insurer come up with better loan and insurance origination systems or early warning systems like we saw earlier, or enhance your wealth products with better advisory capabilities or treasury management. Now let's also look at a short demo. To make it really easy for you to build experiences, what we have created is prefabricated journeys to built out as a repository of flows in what we call a flow store. It has over 50 experiences over personal finance management, lending, insurance, wealth, etc. Think of this as your Canva layer for fintech, each one ready to customize to your theme and design language and launch with the click of a button. Again, did I say zero DevOps, or app upgrades, right? So let's look at some of these flows. For lending, nudge the user to maintain a balance, deteriorating credit score, or recommend a credit card. For KYC, a SEBI registered KYC journey or an adaptive KYC journey based on risk scores that you might get, so that you can actually improve straight through processing or do more checks as needed. For wealth, book a mutual fund or a fixed deposit. We work with our partners to directly bring these white label capabilities, rebalance an investment portfolio. Under personal finance management, a whole bunch of widgets and spend summaries that you could actually use to enhance your application. And finally, we even have a RM assisted consent flow where if you don't have an app, an RM can request consent from account aggregator through a WhatsApp journey, and it could be directly fetched through over a WhatsApp communication. We also have growth and engagement journeys where you have games like Streaks, Scratch Cards, and Refer and Earns for you to engage with your customers and build much better engagement through the platform. Now, let's see how to use some of these journeys in a combination to build something like a personal finance management if you're an RIA. And of course, you can build it yourself, or did I say it could be a TSP, right? So here you're presented with multiple personas. One, say, is a HNI persona, another could be an early owner persona. And for each persona, the journey and the themes are highly customized, right? The look and feel is different. We can also make the entire theme and the design language different for you to actually have a very different experience. So you get a mini version of Figma baked right into the product, except that our Figma ships direct, fully baked user interfaces to your customers. Further, there is also more contextual nudges and other engagement capabilities baked into the platform, into the PFM layer, to derive the data that you get from the account aggregator to deliver wealth or financial advice to your customers. All of this is fully embeddable into your FIU, wealth, or a banking app. Now, and finally, we want to make it really, really easy if you are leveraging a platform to build these experiences and activate on the AI intelligence. And for your marketing or growth teams to run campaigns using a platform on experimentation. So again, think of it as a mini marketing platform built right in, or we can also integrate with your existing segmentation and marketing platform if that's what you have in-house. And we can, of course, deliver this as a TSP or leverage your own product and tech teams could leverage it. And finally, what I wanted to show you and leave you with was, an exciting innovation that we have in our innovation sandbox. So we'll just switch to another environment and give you early peek into some exciting features that are cooking up. So the first thing is, if you have a Figma, you could simply upload it, and on the basis of that, we could deliver a fully shippable UI. Or if you don't even have that, if all you have is a screenshot of a particular app screen, here, let's say we are importing a screenshot of a fixed deposit aggregator, all you have to do is just import it. We have a GenAI assisted capability that converts that screenshot into a fully shippable UI. It just imported that into the platform. You're able to click on every single UI element of this. You're able to modify any of these capabilities, edit them, change colors, change verbiage. This allows you to really test things out very fast. This is essentially a designer or a product manager's dream, right? To be able to try different designs and variations, experiment on the customer experience, and really drive growth to your business. So with that, I wanted to wrap up the presentation and the demo today. Really grateful for having the opportunity to build for India Stack, and thankful for Sahamati to having us over to give you this demo. We are of course here. The team is here to answer questions, but we also have our email up there if you want to reach out with us later for inquiries. Thank you.
Yeah, probably go ahead and stop sharing.
Thanks, Hari. There are some questions that probably y'all can answer. Do you have access to the Q&A box?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So maybe you can pick up from the bottom.
Sure. So I think first question is, can we use the data collected for the PFM use case to lending use cases with customer consent? Absolutely. So there are.
So I think this is more applicable. This may not be applicable to you. I think what Pratik is trying to ask is if data that is collected as a PFM entity, can it be used for lending?
Yeah, I didn't
with customer consent.
Yeah.
Right.
So one should be ensured. Sorry, Ruchi, go ahead. Yeah.
Pratik, the consent. So the consent template has to mention the purpose for which the data is being collected, and the data that is collected has to be used only for the purpose that is mentioned in the template. So far as it cannot happen that you are collecting data for a PFM as the mentioned purpose, and then going on to probably using the same data to probably give out a loan or any other insurance product or any other product. So it is ring fenced to the extent that data collected has to be for the purpose that the consent template mentions it for, and the consent that the customer has given consent for. So Samir, I think this question that Samir is asking, how does your integration work with existing tools? Probably you can take it forward.
Yes. Hi, Samir. Yeah.
Hey, Samir. So I think we have a unified integration layer which completely works over HTTP and it is able to various other protocols, and it's able to have any API that you have. So this could be a data provider. It could be a integration with one of the fixed deposit mutual fund or other financial service distribution capabilities or product building capabilities, or it could also be we are actively working to add things like open network distribution for data. Of course, account aggregator is part of this. All of these integrations come through the same integrations layer, and any of that integration powers both front end as well as back end workflows for us. So integrating an API is no code. Using that integration is also completely no code, both from a front end as well as a back end perspective. Yeah. Hopefully, if you have more questions, definitely reach out, right? The next question from anonymous attendees: Are there any regulations around providing one-time integration access to all AAs, to banks, NBFCs, fintechs, and redirecting users to that AAs based on the downtime? That would be a question for Ruchi. Yeah.
I am not quite sure what anonymous attendee is trying to ask. Are there any regulations around providing one-time integration access to all AAs, to banks, NBFCs, fintechs? What do we mean by one-time integration access and redirecting the users to that AAs based on the downtime? I think we need to understand how the framework actually works. Maybe you'll have to
One thing that I would
dig a
like,
little deeper.
if I'm
Yeah.
allowed to ask a question as well,
Please,
one
yeah.
thing that I would actually really want to work with the Sahamati and the ecosystem is to have better discovery capabilities, right? So if a data principal already is signed up with an account aggregator, I as a TSP would like to enable FIUs to discover which TSP actually has access and which don't, and would love to, of course, partner with the ecosystem to be able to bring that sort of capability. And it may be somewhat aligned with the question that here is being asked here.
Okay. So I'll have a separate chat with you, Hari, on what are the different forums that we are working with, where technical teams or tech companies are working with, as part of working groups or for different tech forums, etc. So Niti can also take part in that, and probably this is the question that is getting answered. There is solutionizing that's happening on that front as well. So I can definitely, get you inducted to that team. So with that, I think we're pretty much on time with our presentation. Thank you, Team Niti, for telling the audiences what your solutions are for account aggregator and otherwise as well. I hope you all have left. You can also leave your contact details in the chat box, and I hope you all showed it to everyone on the presentation as well. So anybody who needs to get in touch with the Niti AI team, please go ahead and reach out to them on the coordinates mentioned here. With that, I think I will request you all to put your video off so that we can get the next team to come and present their solution. Thanks, Shiv. Yes. So we now welcome Hyperverge. Hyperverge has also been in the account aggregator ecosystem for some time now and have solutions on data analytics and data standards as well. From Hyperverge, we have Vandana and Aditya, who is Aditya also there, Vandana? Is he presenting? Okay.
Yeah.
So Aditya and Vandana, Aditya is the product analyst with Hyperverge and Vandana is product manager. So over to you guys to take forward.
Sure. Thanks, Ruchi. Good evening to everyone, and thanks for the brief introduction. Let me just pull up my slides and we can get started. Yeah, let me know if my slide is visible.
Ruchi, I hope I am audible as well.
Both of y'all, I mean, the slide is visible, Vandana is visible, and both are audible.
All right. Thanks, Ruchi, and thanks everyone for giving us this opportunity to present to you today on what offerings Hyperverge has in enabling this ecosystem. Right. Very excited to be part of this panel. Right, with other amazing TSPs which have been such enablers for so many of the lenders, insurance players, and securities brokerages companies so far in enabling access to financial data via account aggregators, and very excited to share that Hyperverge has also started contributing in this space and has been enabling this access for some time now, like Ruchi has shared. I will quickly take a few minutes to introduce Hyperverge and what we do.
Not able to. Yeah.
Yes. So far, Hyperverge has been a leading player in identity verification and KYCs in the BFSI space in India. So far, we have verified over 850 million identities globally. We are the leader in Asia when it comes to processing face and identity verifications at scale. We are known in the industry for our in-house proprietary AI models, which process face and documents to deliver very accurate KYC verifications and fraud checks during onboarding processes. So far, Hyperverge has been in this space for the last 10 years exactly. We had been incorporated towards the end of 2013. We turned profitable in 2017, and ever since we've been running on our own revenues and sustainable. While we started off in the KYC space back in 2017, today we are looking at solving business problems for our BFSI partners across the board, beyond KYC, and for the end-to-end acquisition funnel. Just touching on our AI-powered product stack specifically, today, again, when it comes to document processing, face recognition, and data processing, Hyperverge stands as the market leader in terms of not just the volumes that we process, but also in terms of accuracy, response time, uptimes across the board. And today we have over 150 clients in India, and we work with players across segments. Very recently, we had gone live with a social media platform also, in fact, with LinkedIn to automate their identity verification process. But yes, across banking, securities, NBFCs, insurance, we've been closely working with all the top players across industry segments to boost their business and acquisition. Coming to why we have chosen to also actively, be part of an enabling ecosystem like account aggregator. While we had been focused and significantly sort of doubling down on our KYC and identity verification problems, what we have realized is no matter how optimized an identity verification step is, no matter how good the conversions during that step are, the customer is still lost if any other parts of the onboarding journey are not optimized, right? So there we felt if we are able to leverage our expertise in AI to also go horizontal in the acquisition process and improve the overall conversions across the board, then we stand to add more business value to the partners that we work with. In that process, what we have realized is whenever it comes to sharing very sensitive financial information, right? End users are extremely hesitant, not just in journeys where they are onboarding themselves, but oftentimes a lot of large enterprise players have agent-assisted onboarding journeys. And whenever they are asked to share, physical copies of financial data, etc., with an agent, there is a vulnerability there, and there is a lack of trust that leads to drop off not just in a digital acquisition channel, but also in a feet on street acquisition channel, right? And there are countless cases of fraud and misuse of certain information, which leads to an overall problem in the customers that BFSI players are acquiring, right? Not just in terms of losing a very good customer because of the lack of trust in the journey. The second part is I have spent all this money to acquire this customer, but then I realized that this is a case of fraud or misuse of some information using which they had successfully gotten certain approvals. So this then becomes a very big problem for me, not just in terms of boosting a conversion rate in my acquisition funnel, but overall my long-term value that I derive out of a customer is impacted. And this is an observation for us, not just in a single vertical, but across industries. We have noticed the same sort of user behavioral pattern in terms of lack of trust, and also the same sort of fraud patterns where very savvy users come up with more and more sophisticated ways to defraud financial entities, right? So what we have then started with is enabling this access to the account aggregators in the ecosystem as a TSP, so that we are able to allow for a very secure consent-based data sharing between the financial entity and the end customer, so that we are able to solve not just for the user experience and the trust factor in the onboarding journey, but also the reverse trust, right, where very reliable and accurate financial data is available for our partners to be able to underwrite a customer or approve a customer when so much money is being spent during the acquisition process. I will now take some time, spend 5 minutes on a case study. This is a case study on a recent partner that we have worked with in the securities and brokerages space. I'm sure, again, this forum might already be very familiar with use cases of account aggregator in the lending domain, which is why I wanted to focus probably today's time and attention on how we can use the same sort of connectivity to solve a business problem even in the mutual funds, securities, brokerages space. So before Hyperverge had started working with this partner, the scenario was that at least in 40% of their acquisition volumes, some sort of physical or soft copy exchange of documents was happening, whether that is KYC documents or income proof documents in an acquisition flow. While the customer had a digital acquisition journey, 80% of the volumes were still agent assisted, where the customer was getting dropped off and they had to be called, and on the phone the agent assists the customer to complete the journey, and 80% of overall conversions were coming through agent assisted channels. And here agents spend a lot of time in assuring a customer that so and so information, financial information or KYC document is needed for XYZ purpose. And this is a very high effort, high cost, high time to conversion sort of approach. What we have also seen is, even in a complete straight-through processing scenario, for the customer to complete all the checks needed to open the Demat account, it would take at least 20 minutes. And overall, the conversion rate, despite all of the efforts that they were observing, was around 10%. So this is where Hyperverge, we sort of usually whenever we work with our customers, we spend some time in a dedicated fashion to understand and break down the entire ambit of the problem, and map the complete user acquisition journey right from the customer when they enter their phone number until, let's say, their loan is disbursed or account is opened, to understand what all interventions will make the maximum amount of difference in boosting their conversion rate or reducing fraud, whatever the main business problem is. Today, in the transformed digital journey that we have launched, there is 100% straight-through processing that we are observing. The overall time to complete an application process is under 10 minutes. And we have seen an improvement of conversion rate by 15% within the first 90 days of starting the transformation project. And coming to the income validation stage itself, where for enabling derivatives trading, the mandate from SEBI is to verify the income level of the customer. So here, previously, what would happen was the customer would be asked to upload their payslip or submit their bank account statement. There again, there was a severe lack of trust and drop-off rate. Today, we are seeing not just an improved conversion rate, but overall a breeze through in terms of time taken to complete that particular step in the onboarding process. And the time taken to complete that step has dropped down by 50%. The solution that we have deployed here for income validation, although account aggregator is the primary sort of method that all users are redirected to, we do auto detect any uptimes, downtimes with the account aggregators that we are connected with. And we have upload option of bank statement or payslip as backup options available for the users to still complete the journey and have their account activated. I'll take a pause here Now, Aditya, my colleague, will take you through the account aggregator journey that Hyperverge is able to support with.
Yeah, thanks for the wonderful and insightful session, Vandana. I mean, focusing on the problem statement in detail. So at the end, it all boils down to how we leverage the account aggregator framework to help realize the business outcome for our client. And fundamentally, if you think about it, right, the onboarding for account aggregator happens in two ways. One, it's through the user themselves downloading the app and signing up and creating and linking an account. And two, during the process of delivering the service, the FIU sort of requests the consent from the end user, and the user gives the consent, right? And the latter is what we'll be touching upon here, and that is where the major user acquisition happens. Let me just demonstrate the end-to-end flow of how this happens, right? So the first step and the primary identifier here will always be the mobile number, where the customer enters that 10-digit mobile number on the SDK. So let's say the customer enters the mobile number. From here, the customer is redirected to the account aggregator platform. And here there is an OTP which is sent by the account aggregator to authenticate the particular user. And if it's a first-time user, we basically create a unique ID on the fly, which is usually the mobile number at the rate of account aggregator. And for this case, it will be the mobile number at the rate of FinView. So let's say we have a dummy FIU in the name of Dhanaprayoga Securities Limited, who wants to fetch the account information of the end customer for an onboarding purpose. Let's say that the end user wants to review the consent. At all times, all the details of the consent is clearly visible to the end user, where the purpose is clearly mentioned as to why the particular FIU wants to fetch the bank statement of the customer. So here, for this case, it will be an explicit one-time consent for account onboarding purposes. The corresponding purpose code 105, you have 101, 102 up to 105. And you can also have another various purposes, right? For say example, loan monitoring, etc. But for this use case will be explicit one-time consent. When the consent was particularly raised on say 23rd Jan, for example, expires on 23rd Jan 2025, the consent expiry date beyond which the FIU won't be able to access the financial information of the user. When the request was triggered on one particular date, and the data requested to date, till what date is the information required for, and the data store, which is usually 1 month, but here for visibility purposes, we have put 2 years. Whether it's a periodic or whether it's a one-time statement fetch. So the magic of account aggregator is about periodic fetch, right? Where you're able to access users' information even for the loan tenure or even for future without the user giving consent each and every time. But here for our use case, let's restrict it to one-time information fetch. How the account response will be given, which is in the form of profile, which is the user's personal information, summary, and also the transactional data. Account types, here in this, it's actually deposits, but to fully show the capability of what all FI types can be linked and can be fetched, we have basically displayed all the FI types. Let's move forward. The user has now reviewed the consent parameters and the consent details. He proceeds to discovering the account that is basically linked to the user's mobile number. The bank then sends an OTP to the user to authenticate if this is the person who is linking their particular account. So FinView Bank shares the OTP to authenticate the user, and the user enters the OTP. Now the user decides to link another bank account of his choice to, share, say, a save. So we have linked the savings account from Finview Bank. Now let's say he wants to also link a current account with some other bank that the mobile number is linked to. An OTP from the particular bank to again authenticate the user. So here, I also wanted to demonstrate how insurance and equities account can also be linked to fully show you the capability, right? So let's say that the user decides to link his account and Finsure is the dummy FIP in this case. For insurance, date of birth is another primary identifier, which is compulsory from the user to enter. So user has basically linked his insurance account, and the same OTP is also sent by the particular FIP to authenticate the user. So in the case of equities, there'll be another identifier, which is PAN number, that will also be requested, as we're going to see now. An OTP to again authenticate the user. So finally, the user has now discovered all his accounts that has been linked to his mobile number, is also linked the particular account from their FIP with the account aggregator. So the consent is reviewed and he proceeds to basically accept the consent. So the data sharing has been approved here, and we'll be redirecting it to the FIU's portal. So while the customer is seeing this in the backend, the consent artifact was basically generated, an electronic consent artifact, and while the consent was given, it was stored in the register, and there was a trigger which was basically sent to the FIP, and the FIP securely gathers the end user's data and has shared it via an encrypted manner to the FIU. So all in all, we were able to actually, allow the customer to share and give more power and control to the users, right? Before this, what happened was the end user of our client was finding it very hard to actually share their net banking credentials and password, and also go to their, kill the application and go to their banking app, download it. And all this was ultimately impacting their conversion rates. So leveraging the AA framework actually, helped in onboarding and also improved the conversion metrics of a client. So once the data is fetched, right, this is just raw data, to be honest. So what can we do with this data? Is basically build an AI-powered analysis and an engine over and above the raw data that is received. Now, if you think about it, you can perform, you can run your rule engines and analysis engines over whatever data you want. But the main data that will actually give you some sort of insightful impact is your account statements, where you're able to analyze the type of transactions, the GST data for MSME loans, equities and mutual funds is also a new use case that we have been exploring for understanding if it's a dividend or a high growth fund, etc. And in order to fundamentally draw a conclusion on the behavior of the customer depending upon the financial data that is gathered from the account aggregator, right? Analyzing the spend behaviors, their credit limits, touching up upon their, financial stress indicators, for example, fraud check utilities, right? If there's any suspicious transactions or a transaction which is going through on a national holiday, that clearly indicates a case of fraud. Identifying any consistent patterns and anomalies, right? So huge amounts of transactions that is happening on a daily basis, and analyzing also the business financials of companies, especially for MSME onboarding. And all this is just, it's done just by integrating the SDK, providing backup orchestrations with multiple account aggregators. So internally we check whether the health of this particular API is up and running, and automatically we reroute those volumes to some other fallback option to deliver on our promise of automating and not giving any sort of ensuring, not ensuring any sort of downtimes. So yeah.
Thanks, Aditya. Want to take a pause here to just summarize the overall offering from Hyperverge. With a single integration with our SDK, you can access integrations with multiple account aggregators, and we also detect availability of financial information or uptime of account aggregators, and divert the user to a fallback mechanism of a document upload in a worst case scenario. And once the data is fetched, regardless of the source, we are able to use our AI engines to process the data that has been fetched and give a financial profile of the customer or a business entity, so that a decision making can happen in real time. I'll take a pause here to pick up any questions. Ruchi, I believe there are no active questions.
Yes, I don't see any questions so far. What you can do, Vandana, is you can leave your email ID. So, of course, I see aditya.tg. You can also leave it in the chat box. If there is any phone number, you all can leave it there. So, in case anybody needs to reach out, they will do that. Okay, I guess with that, we come to the end of our presentations today. Thank you very much, Team Hyperverge. If you all need to get in touch with them, please reach out to them at the email ID mentioned on the screen. And if you need to reach out to Sahamati for anything, please feel free to write to us at info@sahamati.org.in. With that, we believe it's been an interesting session for all of y'all who have attended. Thank you very much for sitting through our presentations. If there is anything you want to ask, please do so. And we look forward to 2024 being a very, very exciting year. 2023 has given us enough reasons to be very, very hopeful for the next calendar year. So thank you very much, and please go ahead, implement the APIs, get your use cases in place, and for anything, any assistance, any help, any doubt, feel free to get in touch with Sahamati. Thank you very much. Thank you. Also, one more thing, the video of today's session will be available on our YouTube in the next few days. You can listen to it anytime you need to go back for references on any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.